And that was Blessed. Thank you, guys. Now that list that we give you, it's a bit muddled, so would you like to tell me what the next one is, please? Sorry about that. Oh yeah. Yeah. What's that? Okie doke. Can I just have a quick look at that?
Think I'm going crazy now. I think I'm going crazy now. As a matter of fact, my mind's made up. There's no way out when you're down.
Beat up just a little more. Here we are, here to heal inside a doorless wall. So let's watch the daylight break the space. Feel the sunlight on your face.
officer at AFC Unity, which is a feminist lefty football club based in Sheffield. And I'm going to talk today about who we are, why we're different, why we're an alternative football club, our links with the local community, what we offer to the community, and how you can find out more about us. So why we're different on and off the pitch, why we're an alternative football club. The first thing is we're a social enterprise. You get a lot of professional clubs that are profit-driven, focused on investment from shareholders, which we're not. On the other side, many grassroots clubs that aren't social enterprises, lack a business plan, they aren't subject to many regulations, and this is something that we don't suffer from. All our money goes back in, and we have a very clear plan of where we're going and things. The main thing, we're just for women, which might seem obvious that given that we're a women's football club, but when you think about it, there aren't that many teams that don't stem from a men's club originally. We were founded in 2014 and by women, for women, with no plans of involving men. Nothing against men. So we're not attached to a men's club. This makes it difficult for us in terms of funding and keeping ourselves going. So a lot of clubs that are attached to a men's clubs, they get funding from the men's clubs to put on the women's team. We don't get any of that, so we rely heavily on just getting our word out. The good thing about us being just for women is that any money we make goes for the empowerment of women and for women's opportunities. Whereas a lot of professional clubs or even grassroots clubs, they get money for women's teams, but it doesn't go back for the women, it just goes back to the general club. And then you see a lot of professional teams that don't even have women's clubs, like Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and don't have a women's team. So yeah, we're run by women. We have a board of directors who are various people in the community. We have people in backgrounds of governance, community and football who are all there specifically and understand our ethos and help it run. We did have our manager, who's a guy, on the board of directors, and he resigned last year because he feels like it should be for women to run. So he's left it to us. Speaking of our manager, he's a lifelong feminist and has campaigned for women's rights and working with disadvantaged communities all his life, which I think really has a positive impact on the team. You know, as it's not all about him, and he really puts the emphasis on us and how great we are. We have our own football philosophy, which we set out very rigidly, which reflects the club and its unique ethos, which I'll talk a bit more about later, but it's pretty much 100% positivity and bringing football for what it should be about, the grassroots connecting to the wider community and being a positive impact for social change. So how do we do this in practice? So on the pitch and at training, we reflect our ethos by buying fair trade. So our kits and our balls are vegan and our kits are fair trade. And it seems like a small thing, but by making this choice and making this decision to go fair trade, it shows that, well, why aren't other clubs doing it? They could easily do it, and especially given sports appalling history with social abuses and things like the Nike sweatshops, and even most recently the Sports Direct working hours and contracts issues, to actually make a point of saying we're not for that, we're going against that, and we're buying fair trade is something we're really proud of. So we get our kits from Toga Sports, our balls from Sender Athletics and Bala Sports, try and keeping it as local as possible to resist exploitation of all kinds. Another reason why we're an alternative football club is how we measure results. So obviously we're a football club, so we do enjoy playing football and winning and progressing up the league, but that's not really how we measure our success as a club. We do a lot of community work, we create a lot of opportunities for women, which I'll talk about in a bit. We're very open to people of all abilities and offer a lot of player pathways. you don't feel pressured that you have to take part in something you don't feel comfortable in. You can start at the bottom and stay there if you want to, and that's not deemed as like less worthy or anything like that. And we also provide a lot of opportunities for people to get involved in volunteering, which I'll also talk about in a second. Because we're an independent club, as I said before, and not focused on profit, and we rely on funding, another thing we rely on heavily for our team is our branding, which I hate to say because that makes it sound like some capitalist venture, which it's not, but it's kind of the right word to use. We rely very heavily on social media to get our word out. We don't have a lot of money to advertise, so our players and our people involved in the team spend a lot of time on social media. And I think it's worked out really well so far. We have a very specific brand that's very obvious. Our logo is a 5-pointed red star, and I think it's very obvious for people who are looking at this club to see what it's about, and we've got a lot of effort in trying to do that. So it's a very like from the bottom up way of running the team. But it does mean it's difficult for us to get awareness in the long run, so we need to get the word out for like players and stuff. A great thing, which is one of my favourite things about being in this club, is our allies that we have across the UK. So we're not the only lefty football team that exists. There's a whole informal network of them all around the UK, which is brilliant, and we all meet up and do really cool lefty things. So there's Eastern Cowgirls in Bristol, Republic International in Leeds, United Glasgow in Glasgow, and Yorkshire St Pauli in Leeds as well, and we've done a lot of things with them. We all come to events together and share our networks, talk about how we can influence the community. We went to Leeds, we joined all of the above in the People Welcome March in Leeds a couple of months ago against xenophobia and racism, and fronted the demo and things like that. There's a lot of solidarity, and it feels really nice to be involved like that. On the pitch, to the actual football now, there are quite a lot of differences between us and other teams in our playing style, for one. The main being a positive sporting approach, which you might think, well, every football team would say they have a positive sporting approach because it's football, but from my experience that's not the case. You go to teams and there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of negative energy, and a lot of shouting from various people. We have a strong dedication to fair play. We oppose it, obviously. You see teams coming into the league who like to bend the rules a bit and like register players that aren't allowed to be registered, or play players that aren't registered, and we could do that. Like, we could very easily do that and get away with it, and probably progress ourselves up the league and have a much more conventionally successful football club. But we like to be integral to our beliefs and hold those firm and do everything right. And we, as players, know this and appreciate this. The style of play we like to play is very bold and entertaining. For example, our average goals last season was 6 goals per match, a lot of action, and I think really this is because the players themselves know that there's not a lot of pressure. Like, we're encouraged to take risks, we win together, we lose together, not one person is solely responsible for anything that goes wrong, and we're really just encouraged to just try things out, which is a really big difference to other teams, because that doesn't happen. We have a focus on passing, which reflects our collectivism over our individualism overall, and generally have a nice time. Everyone's encouraging of each other on the pitch. A lot of football is to do, I think, with who coaches you, because you spend a lot of time with them, at least twice a week for months on end each season, with this one person who's telling you how to play, showing you how to be a good player, and how you should act. So I think it's important talking about the coaching approach that we receive and how it's different to other teams. So our coaching, it works on a non-authoritarian approach. As in many other areas of facilitation, authority-based approaches can create a hostile, bullying environment, which we oppose. So we have more of a leadership approach where the women themselves can get involved with the coaching and a say in how everything is run. We don't have any drills in training, which doesn't mean we don't do anything in training. We call them exercises, which seems really pernickety, but I think it's important. Words are important and valuable, and because when you think of drills, you think of military, being forced to do things you don't want to do, being in pain, etc. Whereas it's just exercises. We're here to play football. We're here to have fun. So similarly, punishments are never applied at training. Use none of this if you don't get to over the line. Then you have to do so many push-ups, and we're all going to watch you and laugh. It's not about that at all. It doesn't matter if you're the slowest. It doesn't matter if you're the fastest. Everyone can contribute equally. 100% positivity. Our coach only ever gives us positive feedback, which overall is a really good thing. He only gives us feedback when on a one-on-one basis. So you're not stood next to someone and hearing how good they are from the coach, which is another common thing that happens in other football. They tell you one-on-one off the pitch, really build your confidence up and encourage you to take risks because you're just hearing good things all the time, which is nice, and everyone likes hearing good things. We don't have any player of the match, player of the match is a time-old, especially Sunday League type thing where you'll pick out a player and they're the best for that match. But we've never done that. We don't really agree with that because if one person's had a good game, you can't have a good game without the people around you, and it's always a team effort, good or bad. But we do encourage players to tell each other if they've had a good match, and this really creates a strong sense of unity and positive energy within the team. We don't have any fitness sessions at all because we're really unfit. Because we think that if you're going to get fit and you're going to get better at football, you need time with the ball. So a lot of clubs have like a training session, and then they have a fitness session, and then they have a match. We just have lots of training, which is nice because no one really likes fitness. And our coach, he's got a really interesting and funny thing, which he sometimes does to the extreme, where he refuses to touch the ball because he believes so strongly that every time a coach has a touch of the ball, that's one less touch, one fewer touch that one of the women can have, which is nice. We don't tolerate cliques at all. Bullies are confronted. Sometimes that's very difficult in decisions we make in the club. But we have zero tolerance of negative energy, which really, really helps on game days because if you ever played on a football pitch or played on any sport or in any kind of community where people are working as a team, it's really tempting for people to get het up on, oh, they're not playing right, or I'm just going to tell them to do this because that's what they should be doing. But we're focused on positive energy and telling people they're doing well and working together, and just game days are always fun. Whether we lose or win, everyone feels good about it. We're just keeping our integrity basically. So that's who we are and kind of like what we're about, and then here's what we do aside in football. So we've got various links in the community focused primarily at the moment around food poverty. So I'll just read you some statistics. So food poverty is defined as the inability to afford or to have access to food that makes up a healthy diet. It's been said that the main drivers of this are low wages, unemployment, and unfair access to the benefit system, and delays in benefits and sanctions. Across South Yorkshire, 50 to 60 food banks exist and emergency food providers, and in Sheffield around 1 in 5 people live in poverty, and that's 25,700 children. Almost 1/3 of all under 10 children in Sheffield live in poverty, and we thought, what can we do as a group that brings it down at a local level to impact the community? So we came up with this campaign last season called Football for Food. And the basis of it is we collect foods. We linked up with Sheffield Food Collective, which is a collective that collects food for food banks in Sheffield. So we joined with them. We've worked with Furvale, most recently Parsons Cross, Firth Park and S2, and it started off where at our matches, our home matches, we'd have a big tub big sign, and we would encourage players from both teams, supporters from both teams, and anyone involved to come and bring food to the match, and then it would get sent to the food banks every week. And it was really good. In a recent friendly in the summer, we collected 190 items, which was 67 kilograms, and a lot of other parts of the community have really got involved in this as well. So Asda on Chaucer Road and Concord Junior School received massive donations from them because they see it as such a worthwhile thing. In 2015, we collected enough food for 350 meals, and altogether at our events, we collected 776 kilograms of food. It's been really positive. Some of the events that we've done, which have been really fun, really good at getting out in the community, we did a sponsored city centre kick-up session on Dev Green in the summer, where players came, we brought our tub for food, we got family and friends to sponsor us, and we spent all afternoon doing skills and kick-ups and just trying to be visible to the community, handing out leaflets to passers-by, really engaging with people as they come past, and it was really successful. A lot of people were stopping to listen. It did start raining, which means we had to finish early, but we collected 133 items of food, 49 kilograms. We did a pop-up quiz at Union Street Cafe a few months ago, which was a really nice family-friendly event. It was a women's focused quiz. All the answers were about women or food poverty. We had a raffle and sold merch and collected food there as well. So that was 70 items. We've done some volunteering in the local community. There's the Sunday Centre, which any of you know is a project the Victoria Methodist Church in town that runs on a Sunday, giving a hot meal to vulnerable people, anyone who turns up. And we had a few players go down and just help out there and talk to people and see what they do, and just see the real impacts of food poverty on people and the difference we're making. The best event we had, which was really nice and really successful, was a five-a-side tournament just at the UMix over there in July, which saw us get 915 items of food. And that involved our allies in other communities, as well as teams like Mexborough who came down, and we had a big five-a-side football tournament. And instead of teams paying to enter our tournament, we said donate some food to us and then you can play in our tournament. So we got a lot of food donations and a monetary donation for the food banks. It was a really positive day, but what made it different to other tournaments is that we also had speakers talking at the event. So in between the matches, you'd have all players and everyone involved coming inside to listen to talks. So we had Steve Clark from the Sunday Centre, we had Carrie Dunn, who's a sports journalist, really well-known sports journalist, talking about women's football. We had Nick from Parsons Crest Food Initiative talking about the impact of food banks and things like that. And it just shows that you can use football for wider things and get people engaged. And it was a really good event. It got we had a lot of attention in general for this campaign from various media outlets. So Sheffield Live came to film us in one of our matches, Sheffield Star, ITV News, BBC Radio Sheffield and all that, showing what we're about. So what do we offer to people who are interested? At the moment we've got two 11-a-side teams in the Sheffield and Hampshire Women's County League, a team in the second division and a team in the third division. In the first season we finished third out of 7, 3 players in our team were in the overall top goal scorers of the whole division, and we got promoted in our first season. Not that that's what it's all about. In our second season we finished 5th out of 8, and because we managed to regain our position, maintain it even in that division, we could then bring up a second team. So this season we're introducing AFC Jets, which is the second team, coached by current first player Emily Salvin, who's injured, so she's coaching the second team. And a really good thing that's really inclusive that we offer is something called Solidarity Soccer, which I haven't heard anything like this anywhere else, so I think it's really unique to AFC. And Solidarity Soccer came about from realising that some people just want to play and have a kick around and have it fairly light-hearted, but also want to improve on their skills without pressure and things. So we thought about how we want to help people outside of football as well, and try and use football to help people outside. So how can football reflect life and positive change and create life lessons that can apply to people outside of sport. So what we do is when people join Solidarity Soccer, we get them to fill in a form that says fill in your life goal, which is a really intimidating question. But it can be in football, it can be outside of football. So people say they want to be more confident, they want to do public speaking, they want to finish their degree, like just lots of things. And we as a football club try to help them get that goal through football. So we try and encourage confidence, give them opportunities to do public speaking, and our aim is to help people. We break down barriers with this because we're open to anybody. If you've never kicked a football, or if you've used to play for a team and now you want to get back in, this is a really good way of doing it. We have a session called Tech and Techies where our media volunteer Sam Cleworth films the technical skills we do every month and puts it online so we can see how we improve. It's just a really good event. It runs twice a week, on a Monday at Hillsborough College at the moment and on a Tuesday at Concord Sports Centre. Other things we offer for the team, for people for the team, coaching, voluntary positions, sports physiotherapy, sports psychology, sports journalism and fundraising positions. So, but if anyone's got any other ideas about what we could do or what other voluntary positions we could have, feel free to come up to us. We've got an ambassador program which focuses on the women in the football in the 11-a-side teams, which is really encouraging them to get more involved, to have a greater presence in the local community, to get involved with the campaign, the Football for Food campaign, to network with the community and fundraising. So this really helps to promote female role models, it gives the women an opportunity to gain experience, confidence and skills that can help them outside of football, encourages skills sharing and increases the profile of the club. So, for example, some of our 11-a-side players come down to the Solidarity Soccer and they give like a masterclass on like something like corners, or heading, or just something just to share the nice vibe and gain confidence of coaching and things like that. So I think we're a pretty good team, but this has also been very recently recognised nationally. So the FA awarded us the FA Respect Award, which I'll just read is, the awards, which are now in their 6th year, salute the individuals, teams and leagues which have been at the forefront of promoting respect across all levels of the game. So we got nominated by that. A former player and who's our now director of football, she wrote a letter entering us into the competition for the award, and then another one of our players wrote a forwarding letter. Got Nick, who's from the food bank that we helped, to write his support, and they thought, yeah, we think you're the best out of all the women's teams in the country at what you do. So our manager and our captain went down to Wembley Stadium to collect the award from the acting chair of the FA, Bobby Charlton, and Alex Ferguson, Jeff Hurst and Sam Allardyce. So nationally we're recognised now as being awesome. That's pretty much what I've got to say on the club. If you feel like you want to know more about what we're doing or want to keep involved of what we're up to, we're on Twitter and Facebook, and we have a website which is afcunity.org, and it'd be great to hear from people. I'd just like to leave it on this quote which I quite like. If you're only about winning, when you lose it feels like you have nothing left. But obviously we're more about winning, less about winning. Thank you.
And with its magic hand, he reached right in and turned the law.